back to my channel. So today's video is going to be Christian's 6-month baby update, which is crazy. I feel like that I'm saying 6 months. He's actually about 6.5 months now, but I'm in denial and I'm just gonna say he just turned 6 months. So yeah, in today's video, I'm just gonna talk about like kind of the key milestones he's hit. My last update was when he was 4 months, so I'll have that up here so that you can check that out if you have not already. But today we're just gonna talk about like what's happened since then, some of his favorite things, changes I've seen in him, things like that. So let's just get into it. So I think absolutely by far the biggest change that we've seen going from 4 to 6 months is that he's so mobile now. First of all, he can sit up all on his own, so he's sitting up right now on my lap. He can also like move across the room all by himself. He gets into everything, he grabs everything, he grips everything, he can pull, he can move around. Like he is like, he might as well be 18 years old in my mind. Right before I filmed this video, he was like grabbing at the tripod legs, like pulling at it. Like he just gets into everything. But in the last video I filmed for his 4-month update, he wasn't even rolling yet. He hated tummy time at the time, and I swear like I put out that video and within like a week he was like flipping, he was loving tummy time. He sleeps on his tummy every single night now. Ever since about 4 months he has done that. He can roll. You are so cute, what are you doing? All right, he's gonna need to go to his dad because he is just being wild down here. Let's give him one more look at you, Bubba. Here you go. Will you wave? Can you say hi? See the camera? See that he recently just started waving. Like when people say hi, he'll like kind of do that. I don't know if he knows he's waving or not, but he'll do it. Hi, you see yourself in the camera, Bubba? You see yourself in the camera, Bubba? Okay, we're back. So yes, the biggest difference is just that he's so mobile. So like I said, at the time, he wasn't even into tummy time. Now he loves tummy time. He's always rolling. He can like roll onto his belly and he can roll onto his back. He can flip, but he's not like fully crawling forward, but he can crawl backwards. Like he can scoot backwards, and then I swear you put him on this side of the room and somehow he will end up on this side of the room. He will like scoot or roll or army crawl, whatever he needs to do, but he can just get all over the place. So I definitely have to keep an eye on him now, so much more than before. Not that I didn't before, but I feel like before we hit like the 5-6 month mark, you could kind of like lay them on the floor and they wouldn't go anywhere, and that is not the case anymore. He is on the move. So yeah, he can sit on his own now too, which is really exciting. So when we took him for his 4-month appointment, the doctor was like, by the time he's 6 months, he'll be sitting on his own. And I was like, what? That doesn't seem right, because at the time you would put him on his, like, you would sit him up and he would just like flop over, and then you could like sit him up and he could hold himself a little bit for a while and then he would flop over, and now he just sits on his own all the time, and he does it when we're not around too. So like yesterday we put him down for a nap and we checked the monitor and he had pulled himself up, was sitting up, and he was just playing with the little mobile thing. Which I'll get into in a little bit, but we actually just got rid of it for that reason, because he was playing with it and pulling it down and trying to bite it, and he's just outgrown it. So yeah, he's just like so much, he's capable of so much more than we expect, which is really fun to watch, but also really crazy because, and like scary and exciting, because you think he's like good, and he's on the move. He is not good, he is gone. We also noticed that he cries in response to things now, which, for example, if he's getting into the tripod and he's pulling on the tripod stand and I'm like, oh, my camera's about to fall on you. If I take that tripod away, he'll cry. Like if he wants something and he can't get to it, he'll cry. If he wants your food and he can't have it, he'll cry. Like not every time, he's not a very like whiny baby, but he just cries in response. Whereas when he was a newborn or like before 3 months, he may cry for no reason, or he might cry specifically because he was hungry or because he needed changed or because he was tired. And now he cries for those reasons, but he also cries when he can't have something, and he cries if he bumps his head, which he does a lot because he's so mobile. Like again, I'll talk about it in a little bit. We've gotten better about just like kind of baby proofing our space, but you know, when he first started to like roll and kind of topple over, like we didn't realize he was quite as mobile, so he might roll and then hit his head on something, like just he might roll and bump his head on the floor, and then you hear a little thud and then you hear him cry. and he's fine, but you know, it's just, I didn't realize he could roll over like that yet. So things like that, but he'll cry in response to stuff. So he's just so much more aware of his surroundings, and he's aware of like how things work, which is really cool to watch. Interrupting this video because I realized that while I was talking about him crying in response to things, I also completely forgot to mention that he now laughs in response to things too, which is like so rewarding and so amazing. So in my last video, I talked about how he laughs now, and he laughs a lot, but along those same lines, we can actually make him laugh now. Hey! So he's now ticklish, and so if we tickle him, he'll laugh. If we like make funny faces at him, he'll laugh. Like, he's just very responsive, which is so cool because he's just like obviously enjoying life and he's having a lot of fun, and when he does that, we do that. So I just had to I had to mention that because I realized I talked about him. Bubby. It is so much fun, and I realized I talked about him being sad, but I didn't talk about him being happy, which is like the best. So just had to cut in here and mention that. Now back to the rest of the video. He loves to grab and hold on to things. I swear this kid has the strongest grip. Like, anybody around him will comment on how strong his grip is, because when he has a grip on something, he will not let go. I know in the last update video I talked about how he would grab my hair and pull. He still does that. He also grabs my new postpartum baby hairs. He likes to grab those and yank them. If you saw my nursery tour from when I was pregnant, I got this little banner above the changing table, and that was like purely decorative. I didn't even think about it having a functional purpose, but for a little while there, when he was like 4 months or so, he was really entertained by it. So it was actually great because we'd lay him on the changing table, and then he would look up and he would stare at it and he would kind of yank for it. And eventually he started gripping it and pulling it down, so we had to move that banner up a little bit. But it's just funny how things like that, like, he's amazed by everything. Everything is so interesting to him. Everything is new and exciting. Yesterday, or maybe this morning, we were in the car and he was getting a little fussy, so I gave him my sunglasses, and he was just holding my sunglasses, and like, he likes to hold things and go back and forth like this and look at them. And it's just so funny because he's like purely awed by everything. And so you can give him a pair of sunglasses or a carrot stick or something like that, and he just kind of moves it back and forth. And I keep an eye on him. It's not like I'm giving him my sunglasses to just like run off with and like choke on, but you know, if you're watching him, it's like, it's just fun to watch him process everything and be entertained by like the smallest things. This morning he was playing with the string on my joggers, or he'll, I don't know, just grab, like, we give him the hairbrush to keep an eye on when we're changing him. Sometimes we give him his little hairbrush, and he just sits there moving it back and forth and makes like a really serious, like, focused face. It's so cute. Another thing he has become obsessed with, unfortunately, is pulling the dog's hair. So I got a lot of questions about like how well does he get along with our dogs and how they've acclimated to him. And we've actually been really lucky that they get along really well with him. Coco, our Pomeranian, loves him. She like wants to be by him all the time. She wants to cuddle with him. She wants to lick his face. She wants to lick his hands. She would lick all over his body and like give him kisses all over. If we let her, we have to be like, whoa girl, chill. Cali is still like kind of in denial that he's here. Like, she was the alpha before he got here, and she's like still in denial that he's here. Sometimes she'll come up to like cuddle near him or like lay with him, and that's like a really big move for us, and we're really excited about that. For the most part, she's like indifferent. Neither one of them has gotten like aggressive or irritated at all though. Like, they're both really patient with him and really great, which we're really lucky for. However, the only thing is that within the last few weeks, so he's 6.5 months now, I would say right around the 6-month mark, he started pulling their hair. He likes to like play with their tail, like pet them. We're trying to teach him to like gently pet. And so we'll take his hands and like slowly pet them, or like I'll have him watch me how I like open-handed pet them. But if we're not watching, he'll get up to them. Like I said, somehow he can get from one side of the bed to the other, and he will like grip onto their hair, and he likes to pull it. And they have like growled at him a couple times over that. So we like really keep an eye on him. We do not allow him and the dogs like alone or close together without us supervising. Even when he's like right next to the dogs, we are like huddled over and not letting him touch them because he just doesn't know any better, and he is so fascinated with them that he likes to pull their hair. And I mean, I can't even blame them for getting annoyed because it's annoying when someone's constantly pulling your hair. So yeah, that's something that's new, but the pulling of the dog's hair is like so real right now, so we're like hyper aware of it and like really trying to not let him get there. Oh, another big exciting milestone isn't really even a milestone, but he can face out in the stroller now. So I've talked before about how the stroller set we have is like the Chico or Bravo, something. It's a travel system that basically, I'll put a picture here and I'll have it linked down below. I love it. We use it all the time, but it's the car seat and the stroller and they like clip together. So it's really convenient because when he was smaller, we could just take the car seat straight from the car, clip it into the stroller and go. And we still do that sometimes. Like when I traveled with him and flew with him, I used that in the airport because then I could cover him completely and have it be black so he could like sleep or whatever. But now he's big enough that he actually hates being in the car seat in the stroller. He likes to be out, he likes to be facing out, he likes to see what's going on. And so now we can put him in the stroller and he can face out. And so it's super exciting to see him see everything. Like this morning we took him to the park and he can just like sit there and look out, and he tolerates it more. Before he hated Target. He would not want to go in any stores because he hated being in his car seat and like not seeing what was going on around him. But now he can be in his stroller and face out and take in the sights the same way we are, and he loves it. He's so much better with it. So in this video, I'm gonna get into like solids foods, introducing solid foods, things like that too, but I just wanna answer some of the like main bullet points I had written down first. So at his 6-month appointment, he was 17.5 pounds and 26 inches and a quarter long. So since he was born, he has gained about 10 pounds and he has grown about 7 inches too. So he's going to be a big boy. He's like right perfectly average. Like I think she said he's in like the 40 something percentile. Like she was showing me, my pediatrician was showing me the chart of like where he ranks with overall height and weight, and his line was like perfectly average right in the middle. So he is like a perfectly healthy, happy baby. He looks way chunkier than he actually is. Like his measurements are just like totally average. So I'm a happy mama. I am still breastfeeding. He takes milk like perfectly fine. I'm probably just gonna keep breastfeeding for as long as it works for us. I'm hoping to make it till like at least a year, if not like a year and a half. And then when I'm at that point, we'll see if we want to keep going or not. I'd love to keep going a little bit longer than that, but we'll see. I also don't think there's any harm in ending sooner than that. So we'll see where the process takes us, but I've just been really lucky that breastfeeding has been easy for us and that has been smooth. And I take that back. I don't want to say easy because breastfeeding is not an easy thing. It is a commitment, but it's been a good process for us. And so, yeah, we made it to 6 months. We're just going to keep on going and see how long we can make it for. We have been introducing solid foods slowly. So right around the 5.5 month mark, he really started seeming interested in solids. Like he was grabbing for our food, he was reaching for our plates, he was doing this like fake chewing, and he was like fussy. And so I asked the doctor if we could introduce them a couple weeks early, and she was like, yeah, he looks great, he has good head control. So then I started to try and work solids in, and he like lost interest. He would spit them out, he was like pushing them out with his tongue. And so eventually I was just like, you know what, he's not ready for it. We waited till the 6 month mark and then tried again, and he was ready, and he actually like immediately went into eating solids like a couple times a day, and it instantly like blocked him up, and he wasn't happy about it. So I feel like his appetite was like ready before his body was, if that makes sense. So now we're back to doing just like solids like once a day. Some days he's not in the mood for them at all. Some days he's in the mood to have them twice. Most people try and stick to a schedule a little bit more than I have. For me, I just want to like ease him into it when it feels right. I don't want to stress myself out thinking I'm doing one thing right or one thing wrong. I don't know. I think a lot of this whole motherhood thing is like, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, and if we don't hit certain milestones or certain schedules, it makes us feel bad. And for me, I really don't want to go about that. So yeah, we're introducing solids, and he has them every day. If not every day, then it's like 4 or 5 times a week. But I'm not like, if he goes one day and doesn't have them, I'm not stressing out about it because he'll get there eventually, and I just want him to be comfortable. And the way, I know there's a couple different methods too, like there's baby-led weaning, there's purees, things like that. For us, we're just doing purees to start. Sometimes, like I said, I'll give him like a carrot stick to play with or just to look at to get familiar with the texture, but he really doesn't show interest in eating foods like that, and he's not doing like a pincher grab yet. So for me personally, what works best for us is just purees, because that's what he's comfortable with and that's what he seems ready for. So I will just make my own baby food. I take veggies and I mash it up in our NutriBullet and I mix breast milk with it and just give it to him with a spoon, and it's like perfect. So he's had cereal, he loves peas, he's tried banana, sweet potato, he had green beans this week. I mean, nothing crazy. I know you're not supposed to do fruits right away, so when we did banana, we just like let him try it, but I didn't like have him consistently doing it. I'm trying to do one new food per week or one new food for like 4 or 5 days and then switch him to something else. But like I said, I'm not super crazy with it because it's been the holidays, it's been Thanksgiving, and we've been super busy. So yeah, we are getting stricter with it as we go along, but it's a whole new process and it's really fun and we're just enjoying it so far. The one thing, actually there's 2 things I didn't think about with introducing solid foods. One, I did not think about how immediately, like literally same day, next morning, their poop changes. Like it is nasty. And everybody talks about like, everybody's like, oh, just wait till they start solids. I feel like once you have everybody's like, wait till the last few days of pregnancy, it's awful. Wait till the last few months or couple weeks of pregnancy, it's horrible. And then you get through it and then they're like, oh, well, wait till they start solids, it's horrible. Like that's like the next awful thing, right? It's not awful, but the poop does change and it changes like immediately. And I don't know why I thought it might like take a couple days at least. It didn't, it changed immediately. Feels like you are wiping a grown man's ass and it is nasty, but it's part of life. But also, aside from that, like he's been getting like blocked up and he's been having some, not tummy issues, but he's just like not going as often. So like yesterday he went in the morning, he hasn't gone today yet. The day before yesterday, I think he went twice. Like it's just like not as consistent now because his stomach's adjusting to this whole new texture and type of food. We've been giving him like little sips of water, sips of apple juice, things like that to try and help, but it is something we faced, and it's hard because similar to teething, like he's just in pain. Like he'll have a really bad stomach ache or he'll be like rolling around like trying to get it out, and like there's not a whole lot you can do. We do baby massages on his stomach. We've been doing like those bicycle movements, but it's just kind of like something that kind of sucks that comes along with it. So that was surprising for me. Let me know if you have any other questions with the whole solid food thing. I'll have some of the products that we've been using linked down below, and I will of course answer any questions in the comments, but I think that's pretty much all that we've experienced with solid foods because we really didn't like consistently start him on them until we hit that 6-month mark. Teething, however, has been another huge part of the last couple months. So he still doesn't have any teeth. I'm like, bro, I keep thinking he's gonna pop teeth because he's always teething, it feels like. But he's like, they're not even like poking through whatsoever. Like his gums are hard, they're white, but they're not like capping or anything. So I keep thinking we're getting close and we're not, but he's teething all the time. And some days are worse than others. It feels like the last week or so has been a little lighter, but I mean, he's like always got a finger in his mouth. He's always chewing on them. He likes to chew our fingers. This morning he was trying to chew my toes because he was on the floor. He tries to chew my kneecaps. He like chews everything, but he doesn't really show an interest in like plastic teething toys, surprisingly. We do have those little keys and we put them in the freezer and he likes those when they're cold. There are 2 products that I've been like swearing by for teething. The one we've been using recently is Camellia, I think is what it's called. I get it on Amazon. It is like a lifesaver. It's all natural and he actually likes the taste of it, which makes it so much easier. But yeah, it just like kind of sucks. And then along with that, because he's drooling so much, he's been getting like dry patches and like eczema a little bit. So we have like a new cream for that too. So there's just like all different things. But I'm actually planning on doing a whole like 3 to 6 month product essentials video, similar to how I did my newborn essentials. I'd like to do a 3 to 6 months essentials because there are so many things we used, and this video would be way longer than it already is if I talked about every single one of them. So yeah, give this video a thumbs up if you'd like to see that. Leave me a comment because I'm planning on doing a whole video on that, and hopefully that will answer a little bit more about like what we've been using and what's worked. Oh my gosh, I don't know how I didn't even mention, but another thing he's been doing so much is like talking and babbling and screeching. He found this like, he found his voice and it's like such a little high-pitched squeal, like he squeals when he's happy and then he screeches when he's sad and he screeches when he wants something or when he's about to laugh or when he's communicating. Like, it's just, he found this whole new way to communicate, and so he's been screeching like really high-pitched lately, and it's just like another exciting development and watching his personality develop and grow. I also got some questions about his sleep schedule. So he is still sleeping in his crib, but he's still waking up once a night. So that's something I want to put out there. Like, I feel like once you hit the 4-month mark, there's like this pressure to have your baby sleeping through the night. And for us, it has just not happened. And I think that's okay. Like, our pediatrician's getting on us about it. Like, everybody else is like, oh, you gotta like whatever, sleep train him, blah, blah, blah. And like, I want to a certain extent, but he's also hungry in the night, and I know that's because I keep feeding him in the night, but also like for my sanity and me to function, it is so much in the middle of the night when it's 3 a.m. and like he's up and he's fussy, rather than like working to sleep train him and like soothe him to sleep and things like that. Like, I try and do that, but honestly it's just like, it's so much easier in the moment to like whip my boob out and nurse him for 10 minutes and he falls back asleep and he goes to bed that way. So like, it's not the best habit, I know, but it's what works for us. And like I said, for my sanity, for my work schedule, for my life and my overall energy levels, that's what we've been doing. And so he does still get up at least once a night. The last couple nights, I think after Thanksgiving, he was like a little overstimulated because we had people over here. So he's been getting up a couple more times in the night, and sometimes his teething will wake him up. But for the most part, it's like pretty much it's like 1 a.m. He's gonna wake up, he's gonna wanna eat, I nurse him, and he falls back asleep while I'm nursing him, and then he just like goes back down. So I'm not up for very long. Half the time I'll fall asleep in the middle of the night while I'm nursing him. Like, I'll lean back in this chair, have my legs up, and like he's just like, we're both sleeping in the chair together. Not all the time, but it has happened. But yeah, so he's still getting up once a night, and I would say if your baby is 2, do not like go easy on yourself, because that it's just part of life, and like it'll work out the way it's supposed to work out. And like I said, people pressure, and there's this like pressure to be perfect and like have them sleep trained and sleeping through the night as soon as they possibly can, and like sometimes that's not what happens, and that's okay. So he does sleep in his crib every night, but he does get up once in the night. And then he takes 2 naps every day. Again, I like try and keep him on schedule, but I'm just not super like strict with it. He tends to take a nap around like 8 or 9 in the morning, and then he'll take another one around like 2 p.m. in the afternoon. And they're usually it's like his early morning nap is like 30 minutes to 40 minutes. His afternoon nap can be anywhere from an hour to 2 hours, 2.5. He sleeps for a long time, and I try and like make sure he's getting his 2 daily naps, but honestly, he makes sure he's getting his 2 daily naps. Like, if it hits like 3 p.m. and he hasn't napped yet, I'm not gonna put him down for a nap because it'll just piss him off, but he's gonna be ready for bed sooner or later, and like he's gonna realize he needs that sleep. So I kind of let him like lead us that way. I don't know if I'm supposed to, but it's what works for us. It's what works for our schedule, and pretty much every single day he always takes 2 naps. Like, it's not even an issue of him skipping naps because he wants that sleep too. So it works out. So I got some questions about my favorite clothes for him, and honestly, like, he's always in just like t-shirts and sweatpants. Like, he's very much like a casual tee and jeans kind of dude, if you know what I'm saying. But I don't buy him like fancy expensive clothes because he grows so fast. Like, most of the things I bought him when I was pregnant, he had a chance to wear like once, if that. Half the stuff, it looked big, and then by the time he reached the size I thought it fit him, it was too small. So he's just growing so fast that I don't want to invest a lot in his clothes. Like, I don't even want to invest a lot in my clothes, but I'm really not going to invest a lot in his stuff. So I buy him stuff at Carter's a lot. Like, Carter's is great because they're affordable and they have a rewards program. So I feel like every time I buy stuff there, I get like a $10 reward. Like, there's always like a $10 reward or coupon I can use at Carter's. So it's awesome. And then I get stuff at Target also. They're a great place to pick things up, especially because you're probably going to be there getting things somewhere else, like groceries or something anyways. But yeah, that's about it for clothes. And then like sometimes I'll find things at like TJ Maxx, or if I find something at, I don't know, somewhere, I'm trying to think of where else, but really Carter's and Target is like where I get everything. Like I said, I will have a whole video coming out with products that we use, but his activity center has been like a solid go-to. I showed this on Instagram and got a lot of questions about it, so I'll have it linked down below. We put him in that when he was about 4 months, and he uses it every single day, multiple times a day ever since then, so that's one of our favorite things for him. Plus the teething products, and then just various like toys. Like I said, he's so entertained by everything around him right now, so you give him something new to look at. If it's colorful, if it makes noise, like he's bound to like it. He might get sick of it soon, but he's bound to like it at first. Oh, I did get some questions about my pumping schedule after I went back to work. So still pump once in the morning when I wake up. Like I wake up and I pump before he's up. And then when he gets up and he's ready to eat, then I'll nurse him. And that helps me build my freezer supply. Other than that, I try and pump like every 3 hours or so during the day when I'm working. If like our sitter's here and she's feeding him with bottles, that's what I try and do. But honestly, the struggle's been real. Like since I went back to work, it is definitely an adjustment of like figuring out how to keep my milk supply up while also working, because there's some days where it's like I only have a time to pump once a day, and like it hasn't happened often, but some days when I'm busy, like I'll be like, oh my gosh, it's 4 p.m. and I haven't pumped since 8 and I'm about to explode and I feel like I'm dying and this is awful. And it's just, again, it's just like part of life. Like I have learned to just be so much more like chill than I used to be, because if there's anything motherhood has taught me, it's that 1, it goes by fast, and 2, it's not gonna go according to plan half the time. So yeah, I just try and like take it day by day. Some days I'm able to pump on my 3-hour schedule, some days I'm not. And as long as I'm consistently doing it bigger picture overall, it hasn't impacted my milk supply quite yet. I do notice that on days when I'm super busy and I don't have time to pump as often, like the next day I'm gonna have a lower milk supply, and I may have to dip into my freezer supply that day or like pump extra to try and get it going again, whatever I need to do. But it usually I'm able to get it back up enough to where it's not like affecting Christian's overall like feeding or like if he's fed enough or anything like that. Oh, also for the clothes, he wears size 6 to 9 months now. At Carter's, he's in size 6 months, and 6 months fit him perfectly, but I feel like for not much longer. And then he wears size 4 diapers too. It's crazy. A lot of you guys seem to want more questions on like working mama tips and tips for like being a mom and working. So let me know what you'd like to see in that facet. I'd love to put out more videos around that topic too. I think like owning your career and your motherhood is so important, and it's definitely a balance I'm figuring out right now. So I'd love to make more videos there, but I want to find out like exactly what you're looking to see. Like, is it tips for balancing your time? Is it tips for eating healthy? Is it what are you hoping to see? Because I want to make those videos, but want to make sure it's like super specific so it will be really helpful for you. Okay, so I think that's generally everything that you guys were looking to hear about, but again, leave me a comment and let me know if you have any other questions, anything I didn't cover. I will do another one of these maybe at like 9 months and then maybe at a year. Let me know if that feels good to you guys. The time is just flying by, so I'm sure his 9-month mark will come up sooner than I am ready for, but yeah, that's about it for 6 months. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm just like having the best time. I honestly feel like it is like the hardest job I've ever done, but it feels the most, like I was telling Jordan the other day how like every area of my life, like whether it's work or being a wife, like sometimes I have doubts that I'm doing a good enough job. Like maybe I'm not being a good wife, maybe I'm not being good in my career, maybe I'm not good at my job, maybe I'm not a good daughter, maybe I'm not a good friend, but like I have so much confidence that I'm a good mom to Christian, and which is kind of funny because I put these videos out and you get hate online, but like it is just like the most fulfilling, like feels so good, the most right thing I've ever done, and I'm just like really enjoying it. And so I love that I get to make these videos and connect with you guys on that topic, because it seriously just brings me so much joy. So I hope it brings you joy as well. I hope this video was helpful. Leave me a comment and say hi, and I will see you guys in my next video. Have a great day. Bye.